Welcome to Larking Gowen Insights, accountancy and business advice for all. The series that gives you bite-sized tips and guidance on tax, funding, legislation, reforms and much more. With case studies, business advisory and sector specials and interviews, our team of experts are committed to helping you navigate the world of accountancy and finance. So, let's get on with the show.
Hello everyone, my name is Steve Rudd and I'm a partner and head of Farms and Landed Estates team here at Larking Gowen, and welcome to Larking Gowen's newest podcast series. This episode is going to be a little different to what you can expect from the upcoming series, which officially launches in the coming weeks. The new series will be filled with fascinating case study interviews, topical updates, how-to guides and much more, covering all things business and finance delivered from experts across our firm. But I wanted to take this opportunity to give you a sneak peek into our upcoming Autumn Farming Conference, which takes place on the 4th of October. So I've snuck in and commandeered this new series for a special chat with my colleagues, so fellow Farms and Landed Estates partner Bruce Masson.
Hello.
And our Marketing and Business Development Manager, Kerry-Ann Lime.
Hello.
Thanks for being here, both of you. I'm going to try and channel my inner radio host now, so let's get started. If you're a client or follow us on socials, chances are you have seen the announcement of our new Autumn Farming Conference a few months back, and we're here to talk through the specifics with you in further detail, and who knows, maybe convince you to come along. So to begin, Bruce, can you let the listeners know a little bit more about what the conference is and why we made the decision to even create it in the first place?
Thank you, Steve. The conference is largely that the landscape of agriculture and farming in the UK has changed hugely, particularly over the last 2 or 3 years, with the announcement of the end of the basic payment scheme for one thing. And we actually envisaged doing this conference some time ago, but obviously one or two things have got in the way of doing sort of in-person events, and we thought this would be better served as an in-person event. So now is a very good opportunity to do that. The purpose of it is largely just to bring together people in the room so that we can discuss in person and catch up with clients and contacts and other professional colleagues, and to discuss the pressing issues of the day. And it's fair to say that when we got together with the current schedule of this conference, probably 6 months ago, the issues of the day are probably slightly different to the ones we've got now. But that doesn't. The good news is that the speakers that we've lined up all those months ago still remain incredibly relevant. This day.
And probably even more so, Bruce, isn't it? As you say, the picture is changing so quickly, and that's why businesses and information sharing is really vital at this important time.
No, absolutely. The original intention obviously was to cover as many bases as we could without sort of overloading the day, but to cover the main topics, and and naturally everyone is very concerned, particularly with the lack of strategy and the lack of noise, particularly from Westminster about what is going on. And to that extent, we've invited the Member of Parliament for Bury St Edmunds, Jo Churchill, along to come and speak to us. Up until relatively recently, she was a junior minister at DEFRA, so hopefully she should be able to give us some insight as to what's going on and largely hear about many of the current issues. Obviously, we've now got new management at Westminster with the Member of Parliament for South West Norfolk, right on our doorstep. Sadly, the new Prime Minister was unable to come to the event, but hopefully we'll hear from Jo Churchill, regarding a lot of the issues that a lot of businesses and obviously particularly individuals are facing.
Absolutely. I mean, as you say, there's been huge change at the top of government recently, and it'll be really interesting to see whether into this new regime we can get some insights into direction of travel, and particularly from a local MP as to how the government is going to support farming and rural businesses in East Anglia.
Well, as you said, an awful lot has happened even in just the last 24 hours. So with just under 4 weeks until the conference itself, I dare say an awful lot will happen in that period of time. So we wait to hear from Jo Churchill, with an intent years probably on that one.
Good. And Of course, as you said, Bruce, things are changing so rapidly at the moment, and we've had huge impacts on the economy from inflation. Worldwide events have had massive impact in terms of the cost structure and the business side of things that's facing farming businesses. I think we've got Alec from Sentry talking to us, and what sort of insights do you think he's going to be able to give us?
Well, Alex Smith from Sentry, and obviously they farm, obviously not just extensively within the East Anglian region, but up and down the country. So Alec will be, giving us, Sentry's insight into the year that's just passed. Particularly armed with a lot of data and examples from the most recent harvest, which I think, most people will probably acknowledge that it was probably one of the quickest harvests, that we've ever had. But also, delving down into the numbers themselves, it's probably fair to say that most people bought, their inputs, last year when the prices were, incredibly different than they are now. And obviously, we know largely what the output prices are, albeit in an incredibly volatile market. So, I think from that point of view, most people will be feeling glass half full at this particular point. But Alec will be sharing his stories from up and down the country, where the picture is perhaps not quite the same as it is in East Anglia, just to give a bit of outside perspective on it. And then obviously looking forward about what we can expect for the next few months. I'd love to say the next few years, but we are ever dealing with a much more short-term scale these days, in terms of input pricing. As you mentioned, the impact on fuel, especially. You think where the price of red diesel has gone, in the last year, and also the availability of fertilizers. Not to mention the price, in chemical applications as well. And that's all before you've actually even got to the weather, which is a whole different story.
Yeah, so a massive amount of different variables that are impacting in terms of the overall business performance. So it'll be interesting to get some insight from Alec. And Bruce, looking ahead, looking forward is really important. And again, we're all well aware of the changes in the subsidy framework and the impact on sustainability of farming businesses. So we've got Jason Cantrell from Series talking, I think, at the event. So what's he likely to cover for us?
Jason's obviously advisor with Ceres Rural, who obviously taking time out from the busy schedule of advising Mr. Clarkson on their Amazon Prime series, which we're incredibly grateful for. But Jason is going to be looking at the future of farming, and as you mentioned, particularly around the subsidy framework and what lies behind it. A lot has been talked about various environmental schemes such as ELMS, and then again the sustainable farming initiatives, all those sorts of things. And Jason is hopefully going to provide as much information as as there is on it. And I stress that, as there is on it, because we know that the basic payment scheme is going to come to an end in a number of years. But as of yet, the details on the ELM schemes and the SFI have been a little bit scant, should we say. So hopefully Jason can put a bit more flesh on the bones on those things, and just talk about other things that are going on more widely within that framework. So
excellent. And so that's helpful in terms of hopefully trying to get some insight into government policy, and also just in terms of agri business advisors, in terms of looking at crop performance and business performance particularly, but also the future support and help for the industry. But of course the most important thing is to obviously hear from some farmers as well. So who have we got speaking that is on the coalface, so to speak?
Yes, we've perhaps gone a little bit different in this respect, because I think we're going to hear very much on the what we would call traditional arable farming side of things from Alec at Sentry, and also from Jason. So we're trying to put a slightly different spin on this one, and hear from Stuart and Rebecca Mayhew, who sort of farm on the Norfolk-Suffolk borders, and their journey with regenerative agriculture, which has come in for a lot of press, and it's probably fair to say that not all of the press on that that style or system of farming is entirely positive. So they're going to come and share, their journey, and it will be a very honest account of where they've been, and so hopefully do a bit of myth busting on regenerative agriculture, because I think a lot of people look at it and find it, sort of perhaps outside of the traditional sphere. And we're not saying, we're not sort of trying to push this, to all people who attend that they must adopt this style, but it is just to show, those that have gone down a more traditional route that wasn't working for them, there are plentiful options available. It is not, just all about, carrying on as you did before. They've been brave enough to, to rip up, the rule book they were previously following and go down a completely different path. So, we very much look forward to hearing about their journey on that one.
Should be really interesting. And we've also got Izzy Rainey talking as well.
Yeah, this is again, might be considered a little bit left field from some, but I think for the last 20 years, we've heard an awful lot from advisors, ourselves included, about the need for farm diversification, and other streams of income, and obviously with the reduction and falling away of the basic payment scheme, methods in which to replace that. And so people have often looked at very more traditional routes, such as holiday lets, or solar power, or other form of renewable energy to to actually supplement their farming income. And Izzy's again coming from a very very different angle, in that from a farming family, but doing her own diversification, which is not necessarily related to agriculture, but is using the assets that the farm has, and sweating them, to generate returns and do something that that interests her, and benefits the family as a whole. So a slightly different take on the diversification side of things, that people may not just consider the traditional the routes. And again, this is a little bit left field, but incredibly interesting.
Yeah, and as you say, to support the wider family, and not all mouths can be fed from farming businesses these days.
Absolutely.
So interesting to see how the parents can perhaps support their children in terms of looking at bringing their own interests into working alongside the existing farming assets.
Yeah, definitely.
Really interesting. Good, excellent, and shouldn't forget, of course, that we've got Kath Crowther from CLA is volunteered to be our chair, so hopefully she'll keep us all in order as we go through the day. And finally, all to just mention, we've got Emma Haley, who's from the Yana charity. You Are Not Alone, speaking. How are we helping to support Yana through the conference, Bruce?
One thing, I think it's absolutely vital that we give Emma and Yana a platform to basically spread the good word about the work that they do within the community. We talked about mental health and also well-being for a number of years now, but obviously over the last sort of 2.5 years, it has become very much at the forefront of people's thoughts. And particularly within agriculture, which at times can be a very very lonely profession, and also it's not to mention financially struggles along that side as well. And Yana have been doing incredible work over the last number of years, and I think it's entirely appropriate that Emma and Yana are given a good platform in which to speak and actually explain what it is they do. In terms of they're not just a telephone helpline. They can come out and support and give mental health training to to organisations, to individuals, and and the Yana. I mean, it does stand for You Are Not Alone. So I think that's very important to stress that, and the message they give. And I think it's also very well pointing out that any profits that we make on the day will be donated to Yana. So
that's really important, Bruce, isn't it? And as you say, a fantastic charity, and hopefully we can spread the message and help to support them as well. Kerry Ann, you've been very patient in the background there. Sorry I haven't completely ignored you. Kerry Ann, could you sort of tell people how they can perhaps register for the conference and find out a bit more information about it?
Yes, certainly. You can buy your tickets online on our website, which is larking-gowen.co.uk/AFC. Now, that's a little bit long to remember, so they will be included in the show notes. So you can click on that link. It will take you to the website, which will have all of the information about our speakers and our sponsors. As we mentioned, CLA are partnering with us on this conference, which is fantastic. And we also have CLA Insurance joining us as sponsors for the event, which, as Bruce mentioned, any of the profits from this conference will actually go to Yana. So through their very generous sponsorship and also through the ticket sales, we can hopefully raise a decent amount of money for them on the day. Their ticket prices are £25 per person, and if you're a Larking Gowen client, you get to go free. So you can register for free on the website with the relevant codes, which I'll also share in the show notes. And CLA members get 10% off the ticket prices. And if you know a student or are a student, they can attend for £15. So very cost effective, I think, for those to attend. And I think it would be really great to get as many people along to kind of get together again after a very long season. Although Bruce says it was a quick season, but I feel as though the summer's gone on forever and ever. So it would be really nice to get back together in a room again.
Yeah, absolutely, and as Bruce was suggesting earlier at the beginning, that this concept of this conference has been germinating for a number of years now, and COVID obviously got in the way, but fantastic that we can all get back together again, and as you say, hopefully really good value in terms of being able to get some real good insight in terms of some policy matters, some real hopefully helpful hints in terms of what things people can really look for that are going to make a real difference to their businesses going forward. So hopefully super value for money, and hopefully lunch included as well in that as well.
It certainly is, yes, a very nice lunch for everybody. As I don't know if we mentioned, but it's being hosted at Trinity Park, which is the home of the Suffolk Agricultural Association. We felt it really appropriate to hold that there to support them as well. So a great venue, and really look forward to seeing people there.
Good venue, easily accessible, plenty of parking, and
Yep.
hopefully a really insightful day. So Bruce, Kerry-Ann, thank you very much for your time today. It's really interesting to hear some more detail and really bring to life this autumn farming conference that we're putting on. Link's going to be in the show notes. So it's Friday the 30th of September, I think is the cut-off date. Event taking place on 4th of October 2022, Trinity Park in Ipswich. So don't miss out. Book your tickets now. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.